South Africa is waking up to another wave of deadly violence. At least 11 people have been killed in a bloody weekend of mass shootings across the Western Cape, leaving families devastated and communities living in fear. Police have been responding to multiple crime scenes in Gugulethu, Manenberg, Stellenbosch, and Khayelitsha. The latest attack happened early on Monday morning in NY50, Gugulethu, where 5 people, 4 men and 1 woman aged between 19 and 23, were shot dead. Another woman survived the attack and was rushed to hospital with gunshot wounds. On Sunday, tragedy also struck Kayamandi in Stellenbosch, where 4 people were killed, while 4 others, including 2 police officers, were injured. At the same time in Manenberg, gunmen killed 2 men, while a 74-year-old woman was also shot during the violence. The bloodshed comes after a triple murder in Site B, Khayelitsha, on Friday, where 3 men in their 30s were gunned down. Police say investigations into all these shootings are continuing, and the motives remain unknown. As fear grips communities across the Western Cape, many are asking one question: when will this cycle of violence finally end? For more breaking news and updates, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications.
It's coming up for 9:10 now. 11 people have been killed in 3 separate shootings in the Western Cape. In Gugulethu, 4 people between the ages of 19 and 23 were shot and killed at a home during the early hours of this morning. Then, in a separate incident, 4 people were gunned down in Kayamandi in Stellenbosch last night. 2 others killed in Manenberg. Police say the suspects in all 3 cases fled the scene and no arrests have yet been made. The motives for the shootings still under investigation. Now let's take you live to Newsroom Africa's Nasipi Same, who's tracking these events. I mean, incredible over the course of just a few hours that 11 people have lost their lives. Nasipi, of course, it's not the first string of shootings we've seen in those particular areas in the Western Cape. What are police saying here about whether there's any connection and what the investigations have revealed so far?
Well, Michelle, I'll tell you this. The police have been tight-lipped regarding the motive of these string of shootings that we saw in the last, rather under 24 hours in Gugulethu, Manenberg and Stellenbosch, Kayamandi to be specific, where, as you rightfully put it, 11 people are losing their lives in a very short space of time. However, police are indicating that while investigations are underway, they are yet to make arrests. And I mean, if we stretch the shootings to Friday, the multiple shootings that is, one would also include the triple murder that occurred in the afternoon in Khayelitsha. So we are just counting the multiple shootings and are yet to count, you know, the double and the single shootings that Cape Town has experienced in the last 72 hours, for example. So quite concerning. And speaking to a member of the Democratic Alliance within the NCOP, just under an hour ago, he described, you know, what we are seeing as bloodshed, but also saying that at the heart of the problem is the issue of supply chain or the lack of resources, you know, going as back as about a month ago, saying that they had an oversight at the Philippi East police station, where he said that there were about 3 working vehicles for a community as massive as Philippi East policing precinct that is also faced and ravaged with various serious crimes, among others being extortion-related crimes. But going back to these areas where we saw the multiple shootings, Gugulethu, where we currently are, not too far from the police station where the incident occurred, we understand 5 people were gunned down inside a house and 1 person survived that particular shooting. Police are investigating that matter, have yet to inform or share publicly the motive behind that. And less than 4 kilometers from Gugulethu, a stone throw away from here, there was a triple shooting in Manenberg where we understand that 3 people were shot and of those 2 died and a 74-year-old survived that particular shooting. And About 30 kilometers from where we are in Kayamand and Stellenbosch, there was a string of shootings there as well. 8 people falling victim to gun violence, 4 people dying, and 4 survived that particular shooting and were left injured. Among the 4 that are surviving are 2 police officers who we understand were injured during a shootout with the suspects involved in the shooting incident that they were responding to initially, where we understand that also a firearm was recovered at that particular scene with the 4 people that were gunned down. So a cause of concern, and I suppose the questions need to be answered by those in authority regarding the safeguarding of residents, not only in the city of Cape Town, but also in the Western Cape as well, seeing that crime is stretching far beyond the borders of the Cape Flats, where we know that a bulk of gang violence or gun-related crimes are concentrated.
Yeah, and it certainly raises questions as well about the deployment of members of the SANDF under Operation Prosper and whether that is yielding any results. Nasipi Same live to us there in Cape Town.
Let's start here. Detectives attached to the Western Cape Serious Violent Crime Investigation Unit have arrested the alleged mastermind behind the murder of DA candidate councillor Snovuyo Diokwe. The 37-year-old suspect was apprehended in Parklands yesterday during a joint operation conducted by the detectives and the SAPS Special Task Force. Police say they received a tip-off from members of the public regarding his whereabouts and acted on the information received after he had been evading arrest. The suspect is expected to appear in the Cape Town Magistrates Court on Monday on charges of murder and extortion. Diokwe was gunned down on the 20th of June after refusing to pay a protection fee demanded by extortionists. Right, for more details on these developments, we are now joined on the line by Western Cape Police spokesperson, Colonel Andre Trout. Colonel Trout, thank you for your time and joining us this morning. So you've called the alleged mastermind an alleged mastermind. Does that mean he didn't pull the trigger himself? And if so, what was his specific role in directing the gunmen?
Yes, good morning. Thank you for the opportunity. We issued this statement this morning and to say that the Western Cape Police are pleased to announce the arrest of a 37-year-old suspect for the murder of the candidate councillor that was gunned down in Dunoon on the 20th of June. This is an ongoing investigation and more suspects could be arrested soon. I don't want to elaborate too much and point fingers and who's responsible for what at this stage, but what I can say is our detectives worked around the clock to effect this arrest. The suspect will be appearing in the Cape Town Magistrates Court on Monday morning. And as I said, it's an ongoing investigation. Detectives are still following up leads. And as the investigation unfolds from here, another suspect could be arrested. And the evidence will be brought before court, where the whole incident will be presented.
So, Colonel, without running the risk of possibly putting out any of the information that is under investigation, I mean, the statement says he was positively linked to the murder. Can you tell us what that link was? Was it forensic evidence, cell phone data, a witness, or was it something else?
Yeah, once again, this is part of a police investigation. We are busy preparing a case docket to present to the court with the suspect. On the other hand, our detectives are still pursuing leads. We received information from the public, which we are grateful for. All the information that came our way was pursued and which culminated into the arrest of this suspect. At this stage, our docket that goes to court will present the facts. And I don't want to elaborate or speculate at this stage too much because I said this is still an ongoing investigation and our detectives are still working around the clock to conclude this case.
Certainly, and we appreciate that. The statement also mentions that he was evading arrest. How long had he known that police were looking for him, and did he change location or identity to stay ahead of that investigation?
Well, the arrest was made a little more than a month after the incident. Our detectives started immediately on the 20th of June pursuing all leads. A link was made and the information only led to his arrest yesterday.
Right. So was Ms. Dokwe's political candidacy for the DA itself a motive, or was the extortion, because there's also a link here to extortion, targeting her regardless of her political role? In other words, was she targeted as a councillor candidate, or was it because of the extortion, or were these two issues compounded in this case?
Well, that is yet to be established. We said in our statement that we have reason to believe that the murder was committed because of extortion. But as I said, the investigation is still ongoing, and as it unfolds, more information can come to the fore.
Given that this may have been a politically active candidate who was murdered during that voter registration activity, has this case been flagged or escalated to any other specialist units that would then be dealing with political killings, or does it still remain solely under you?
Yes, the serious and violent crime detectives attached to the provincial office are responsible for investigations, and they were the ones that led this investigation, and they used the expertise and assistance of operational units such as the Special Task Force to effect the arrest yesterday.
All right. Colonel Trout, thank you so much for giving us an update on that breaking story of the Western Cape Police having arrested an alleged mastermind in the DA councillor killing, Snovuyo Diokwe.